Essentially, all vines of Bordeaux and Burgundy are trained and pruned to what is called the single guillot or double guillot system. In more general viticulture terms, a vine managed this way is referred to as head trained, cane pruned, with either one or two fruiting canes. This first shot is of a vine at Chateau Quinault in Saint Emilion, pruned to the double guillot style. It should be noted that the only permanent part of the vine is the trunk, which is shown in red here. And as shown by my Fresno State notebook, the height of this trunk is only about 14 to 16 inches. The height of these vines tend to be very small, and they won't get any taller if managed properly, although the trunk definitely gets wider with age, and that is the indicator of how old the vines are. This vine is being shown in dormant season after the clusters have been picked and the leaves have fallen off. This is a good time to be able to look into the vine and see its structure. As highlighted in yellow, this vine has two fruiting canes, hence the name double guillot. Those two canes were laid out on the cane wire at the beginning of the prior year. And from those two fruiting canes, the shoots arise and grow up into the trellis system. There tend to be about 3 to 4 shoots on either side of the vine, and each of those shoots generally has the ability to carry 2 clusters. When it comes time to prune this vine during the winter, 2 cuts will be made where those turquoise marks are shown, so that on each side, just one of last year's shoots is left. Note that last year's shoot, which has now hardened off, is called a cane. And as those 2 green arrows show, each of those canes is tied down onto the cane wire. So, once again, you are left with nothing but the trunk and the 2 canes which are tied down onto the wire when you begin the next season. Now let's talk about single guillot pruning, which is also prominent in Bordeaux, and essentially all of Burgundy is trained this way. This is a vine from Chateau Cheval Blanc in Saint Emilion in Bordeaux. And as we will see, this method involves the use of just one fruiting cane and one replacement spur. The small yellow circle is the area where last year's replacement spur was left. A spur is nothing more than a very short cane of 1 or 2 buds. From that replacement spur, a shoot will arise which, as we will see, will be used as next year's fruiting cane. This will become more clear momentarily. Again, the shoots arise from the fruiting cane as well as from the replacement spur. Now, when it's time to prune this vine, first one cut will be made where that purple line is shown. This will leave just one of last year's shoots on it. Then, as shown by that blue mark, another cut is made to reduce that cane down to 1 or 2 buds, allowing it to serve as next year's replacement spur. Finally, the shoot that grew from last year's replacement spur is put down onto the cane wire. So the vine goes back to its original form of having 1 cane and 1 replacement spur, as well as the permanent trunk. It is interesting to note that each year the vineyard flips back and forth as to which direction the cane is pointing. Here is a vine from the grape vineyard of Chateau Petrus in Pomerol. Unfortunately, it is not a great picture because my camera setting was fouled up. But you can see the single cane laid out to the right of the trunk of the vine. Now, moving over to Burgundy, here is a Pinot Noir vine in the Grand Cru vineyard of Le Chambertin. As I said earlier, all of the great vineyards of Burgundy are pruned to a single guillot. You can see again, it is just a stump with one single cane pointing to the left. It is difficult to see in this picture, but the replacement spur from the prior year is toward the back of the vine. And in dormant season, the cane would be cut in such a way to leave a short replacement spur, and the cane which grew from last year's replacement spur would be placed on the right side of the cane wire. Here is a Chardonnay vine in the vineyard of Le Montrachet. It is an even smaller stump than the other vines we've seen. Again, it is the same single guillot management where last year's cane will be cut to leave a replacement spur, and the shoot from last year's replacement spur is put down on the wire to be the future fruiting cane. If you have any questions or comments on this pruning discussion, please feel free to email me at david@kalunavineyards.com.